incredibly competitive. It offers a lot of different features and opportunities for the client. Okay? The product is pretty simple. It's based on guarantees. I'm going to talk about the income rider first, because the income rider is why you're going to buy this product. If you're buying it for accumulation, they have other products. This is not the accumulation product. This is the income rider product. When you're talking income riders, though, people love that guarantee word. You know, the customers who are going to buy the Nationwide may not be the same customers who are going to buy this one. This is the customer that's looking for guarantees. They've got a couple of options out of the gate. Option one is going to give the customer a 15% income benefit based bonus day one. So their income benefit base is going to grow by 15% the first day, and then it's going to grow by 10% simple first 10, and then 5% simple for the next 10. So you've got a maximum of 20 years of deferral roll-up. Option two gives the customer a 10% bonus with slightly less guarantees, but some market performance. How much guarantee do you need, right? Do you need all guarantees or some guarantees? 7% or 4% plus 200% of whatever the credited interest is. So if the interest rate return is 3%, you double that on top of the 7. The next year, there's no market growth, you still get the 7. Which one's most important for the client? You know, if they're turning on income earlier, probably option one makes more sense. If they're turning on income in 15 years, me personally, I would take an option two, just because I believe that over 15 years you're going to have market growth, right? This is what the option one looks like. So you get that 15% bump the first day. Easy. 100 goes to 115, you're going to grow by 10,000, 10% simple. At the end of 10 years, your income base is guaranteed to be 215,000. Easy math. Guaranteed.
Wow.
At that payment, at age 70, your income is a 5.1% payout factor. Your income is $10,965. It's guaranteed. You never have to worry about what it's going to be. You know, turn it on earlier, it'll be less. Turn it on later, it'll be more. But you know that at age 70, your income is going to be $10,965. Option two, and let's just focus on the bottom line for a second. The bottom line is the guarantees. Assume you buy this thing and you never have market performance. Zero, never once. Again, crazy market scenario. You got a 10% bonus and it's going to grow by 7% simple. At the end of the 10th year, this contract has a minimum value adjustment. It's contractual. It says that at the end of the 10th year, they're going to guarantee you a 10% total return. Just part of the contract. Okay? That means at the end of that 10th year, they're going to give you a little. Your income benefit base will be 191, and your income is going to be 9750, guaranteed. Worst case scenario, assuming you never have a single positive market year. Never a single positive credit. You could have put the money in the fixed bucket, earning 1%, which means you got 2% on top of that, right? This is worst case scenario. This is best case scenario. Just keep that in mind. Customers who say they want guarantees, I totally get it, but guarantees have costs. Nothing's free, especially guarantees. $10,965 will be one of the highest guarantees in the industry. If it's not the highest, it'll be number 2. So you've got very, very strong guarantees. This is only slightly less, and this guarantee is higher than other companies' best case scenarios.
Right.
For the same exact scenario.
Right.
That's pretty strong. Add market growth into there, and now you start looking at these other numbers. It's still a 5.1% payout. The key is 5.1% of what? You're going to get the 7% simple plus double the credited growth. If it grows by 10%, that's a 20 on top of 7. That may sound crazy, but we have contracts that we have agents who wrote last year, WFG wrote last year, and they earned 17.4% on their benefit base on top of the 7. Their credited return, so it was a 24% increase to their benefit base. They earned whatever that was, 8.5%, 9% in their index allocation, doubled it on top of the 7. It's a hell of a bump in 1 year. Very, very strong. Is that for everybody? Heck no. Customers who like guarantees, we got guarantees all day long in this product. This product is available in all states except for New York. Slight variations depending on the state. I was talking to a group earlier, they write business in Ohio. The product is relatively the same. The features are the same. The difference is whether there's a nursing home rider, You're in Illinois, nobody has the nursing home doubler in Illinois, it just is what it is. California and Illinois are notorious for that. But the rates are the same in all the different states. So it doesn't matter which state you're writing the business in, again, other than New York, the rates are the same. The differences are the minimum guarantee feature or the income rider or the nursing home feature, something like that. Rates are exactly the same. They've got a lot of very competitive uncapped strategies. You got the BNP, the Janus, you've got the S&P 500 volatility control as well as just the true, the volatility control as well as just the true S&P 500. Again, this is a income rider product. Don't look at it as an accumulator. It will do some accumulation, but the reason you're buying it is for the income rider. They have the same product without the income rider that have much, much higher caps, spreads, par rates, whatever. Much better accumulation product without the income rider.
Is it a 10-year product with the income?
This one is a 10-year product, yeah.
Is that the most competitive in the income space?
You know, if you're going to buy a product that's going to have lifetime income, surrender period really doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, in my opinion, normally the 10-year is going to have higher caps or a bonus where a 7-year won't. So 10-year just makes more sense to me. Normally it's a 10-year product that wins, not always, but normally. So every client situation is different, but yeah. I mean, the 10-year is an income product, yeah.
Yeah.
So what makes this product also very unique, you know, we talked about that 10,965, if it's not number one, it's number two. What this does for it though is it gives the client more flexibility. They choose option one or choose option two at the time they buy it, right? We got to figure out how we want our growth to look. If I'm turning on income early, it may be a different answer than if I'm turning on income in 10, 12 years. When I get to that point, when I decide I want to turn on income, then I have to make a choice. How do I want my income to look? Well, am I 80, am I 60? Depending on what I want, may change my answers. The nice thing is the client doesn't have to make that choice today. I always like to show them the multiple choices because they start thinking about, wow, that could be a whole lot better if it happens that way or this way. You know that you can always get the highest guarantee. Absolutely. You can call the company and they'll tell you what this one is, this one is, this one is. After the first payment, we don't know what it's going to be for number two and number three. Number one is always going to be the same. If you're retiring at age 60 and you got longevity in your life expectancy, 30 years later, that $10,965 payment isn't buying much. Inflation has totally wiped out your purchasing power. People got to think about that. Most of the products in the industry, including Nationwide, which is a fantastic product, it's a level payment every year. At some point, your $13,000 income gets wiped out by something that's increasing. What year, what crossover point is it? Is it age 72, is it age 81, is it age 95? Which one makes more sense? So I start higher or start lower and grow. You guys know the story, you know, power of compounding interest and growth. So what I like here is the client gets to choose that at the time they want to turn on the income. So what does it look like? So here's what option one with a level income looks like. You already saw this number. Easy, put in 100,000, it grows to 215, my income is 10,965. Very simple. But when a customer tells me they want a high guarantee, this is what I'll run. But then I'll also run this and say, hey, I just want you to compare. This is the same product, same market scenario. Which do you think could happen? And let the client decide. This is the same exact scenario, except we went option two. So we're going to get double the growth on top of 7%. So our 100 goes in at 110, and then it grows. Our number gets to 278 versus 215 here. Times the same 5.1, I'm getting a 14.2 payout. Over 30% more money every single year for the rest of my life. That's a lot more money. 30% every year. Guaranteed. Regardless of how much, you know, money's gone, right? Cash value is exhausted. My payment stays at 14,208 for the rest of my life. Then I throw in the option two with the increasing, okay? We still get to that 278, so we got option two, which is the 7 plus double the growth. You've got the increasing income, which means I start lower, but I continue to grow as I get older. Understand that this growth is based upon whatever my allocation model looks like until the cash value runs to zero, and then it grows at a guaranteed 1% per year. 1% pay raise is still better than a 0% pay raise. As long as there's cash value, it'll continue to grow at the percentage of return. So if the market grows by 4%, or I'm sorry, if your allocation model grows by 4%, my income will grow by 4%, and that will be my new low. Every year it's going to do that until the cash runs out, and then it's going to guarantee 1% for the rest of my life. Still significantly higher. You know, this one, $10,965. This one, by the time I'm age 85, it's almost $19,000. How long are you going to live? Which one makes more sense? Out of the gate, this is still better than this one is, assuming you have market growth. We're not talking crazy market growth though. Average return of 4.22%. That's not crazy. Is it going to be higher? Is it going to be lower? No idea. I'd like to show this product for early income and really, really strong for later income. Not in Illinois, of course. It also doubles your income for long-term care. Again, not in
That's the enhanced.
That's the enhanced, yeah. Again, not approved in Illinois. Illinois, for some reason, never approves.
Oh,
Yeah,
Illinois is
right.
great.
Yeah.
Dumb
Yeah,
state.
yeah, pretty much. You don't like old people, that's your problem. I get it, all right. If you buy it in a different state, the rider works here. If you buy it in Illinois and you move to a different state, the rider doesn't work there.
Yeah.
So it's all about where it is when you buy it. It's Illinois.
Yeah.
Can't do anything about it. It is what it is. California, there's a couple other states that do it as well. Very, very competitive product. It's got good growth, not super great growth. It's got good growth, but it's got that income feature. The rider's a 1% rider fee, so it's very reasonable. Again, it's the #2 sold product, and it's a lot because of the flexibility. I mean, I love the fact that you can choose 1 or 2 today, and I can choose level, CPIU, or increasing. Another really cool feature about this product is you don't have to determine whether it's single or joint until you turn on income. A lot of contracts you have to decide single or joint today when I buy it. If I buy a joint income and I get divorced or my spouse dies, it's still a joint income. I'm still getting a lower payout based on one life versus on 2. This one, as long as at the time you turn an income, your spouse is the 100% primary beneficiary, they can go on as joint. It also works if you have a death. You buy the contract, it's a qualified account, right? You buy it, you're the only annuitant, you're the only owner. You buy it, you pass away before you turn on the income, your spouse can assume the contract, full benefits, everything is theirs. So they can take over the income, as long as you haven't turned on the income yet. So it's very, very consumer-friendly product. You guys pretty familiar with the theme? Yes,
A
no?
little bit.
Yeah.
So Eric, would you mind sharing a little bit about, this is obviously our income, and just for some people who maybe are newer in the room, why an annuity versus why not just invest my money and
Sure.
and take income from my investments?
Yeah.
What's the risk of that? What's the typical drawdown rates you can expect, and
Yeah.
to maybe run out of money, and why would someone want this?
Yeah, so our industry for many, many years has done an incredible job of accumulating assets, right? I mean, we get as many assets we can, we invest them, and we grow those assets. And up until maybe 15 years ago, that was all we did, really. We got all these assets, we hit retirement, and we said, great, awesome, good luck with that. Our plan is to just draw down 4% of whatever you have every year. And that worked great for a long time until people started living a lot longer, and they started having significant market losses due to bad market. Diversification wasn't correct, they were still heavily weighted in equities, whatever it is. So the models have changed, and what people are starting to figure out is I don't have to have all that stress. I can start turning my money into an income stream, because ultimately that's what we want to do, right? We work our entire lives to get what? A paycheck. When we get to retirement, we don't want the paychecks to stop. We want the paychecks to continue. I just don't want to go to work anymore. So how do I get a paycheck every month? Well, I can just take my assets and I can draw down on them, which still has market risk or inflation risk or all these other risks that the money's not working. If I put it in the bank and just draw down on it, eventually it's going to run out, right? 4% times how much money I got 25 years max. That's it. If I'm not earning interest, at the end of 25 years, that's the last 4% check I'm getting. There's nothing left. If you're not earning 4%, you're going to draw down your money. So what these contracts do is they provide you an income that you can't outlive. And that's what all annuities do. But what these do here is they're guaranteeing you that payment stream in the future today. Everybody's got a pension, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You
called-
have a pension?
Yes, I do.
It's called,
There's only one
right
guy.
here.
It's
Right
always,
here I have a pension.
It's always one person in the room that has a pension, and normally their hand goes like this, because nobody has pensions anymore. This is a pension plan.
Yep. That's what pensions are.
That's it. A pension plan is just a paycheck for the rest of your life. What's nice about these contracts is it gives you the ability to control that yourself. The one downside of a pension is that it's still in control by the company. The pension company, the company can say, guess what? There's nothing left, sorry. And it's happening. Unfortunately, it's happening all over the country. Pension people are receiving, I call them pensioners, but that's the British term. So people who are receiving pension payments are being affected. Their pensions are going down, they're losing benefits, they're being reduced. It's happening all over, and it's not going to get better. You know, if you guys are familiar with the Illinois pension system and the California pension system, they are massively, massively underfunded. It just is what it is, right? So people have the ability to control their own destiny. These products will provide them that payment for the rest of their lives. And they can control when, how much, if it stops, if it's myself, my wife, if can I transfer it to my wife, you know, or my spouse, whatever it is. And these products really do a great job. Because of the way that annuities work, the IRS gives them tax deferral. And you guys are probably very familiar with tax deferral, but the IRS says you can have these products and not pay taxes on any of the growth until you take the money out. Another big benefit. Very similar to any IRA product, but if you have non-qualified money, you can do the same, and there's no limits on contributions. Now, how much money do I have? How much do I need? Do I want to put in more? If I only put in $5,500 a year in my IRA max contribution, is that going to get me to retirement? No way. Unless you have a really, really meager retirement plan. $5,500 is just not enough. I can put $500,000 in a non-qualified plan. So there's lots of opportunities. And one of the things I want to touch on, you know, the products that we talked about here, and most of the products in the industry are what we call single pay, meaning you can only put one deposit in, one timer. Once the contract's issued, you can no longer add additional dollars. There are some very competitive, flexible premium products. If you have customers who want to do ongoing contributions, not just IRAs, but ongoing rollovers, ongoing non-qualified premium, whatever it is, makes a lot of sense. You guys do a lot of Roth conversions. You guys talk about it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's a really powerful tool. One of the things that I talked to a lot of WFG officers. One of the things that I've kind of found that I think they not miss the boat on, but forget to mention. You know, it's always a Roth conversion of the whole asset. Well, that's a painful ouch, right? You're rolling out of your 401k. You're going in and you want to have that tax-free income in the future, and you're going to roll a $500,000 IRA into a Roth. Ouch.
Right.
That's a big taxable event. I always recommend just splitting a contract up and doing 5 contracts or doing 10 contracts. As many as you need to make the ouch not so painful. You know, convert one $50,000 policy a year, every year for 10 years. Same $500,000. The contract looks exactly the same. You've got 10 identical contracts. The benefit to the client is $50,000 a year in taxable gain. The end of the day, the benefit is exactly the same. They spread the taxes out over 10 years. The returns should be exactly the same, assuming you've allocated everything the same. What it also does for the client is it allows them to turn on income at different times. You know, when we buy one contract with one income rider, when you turn on the income, you've turned on the income. So it's an all or none. If you have 5 or 10 or 2 or 3 contracts and you turn on income at different times, you can control how your income looks. Maybe you want less, maybe you want more. With this contract, maybe you buy 2 contracts. One of them you turn on with an option 1 with a level. The other one you do an option 2 with an increasing. So no matter what happens, you're leveling out your return. Because you hate to buy one and go, man, I wish I would have bought the option 2. Or man, I wish I should have bought the option 1. And what's great is with the EAP process, and if you haven't used it yet, give a plug for our EAP process. Our EAP process, all our annuity applications are now electronic. Everything.
Thank God.
All electronic, and when you run one, you can copy that one into 10 with just the click of a button. You don't have to fill in 10 apps. 10's an extreme, but if you want to write an app, 10's an extreme, but if you want to write an app with Athene, and then you also want to do one with Nationwide, you can write the Athene one, hit the copy button, and all that information will transfer to the Nationwide app. So all you got to do is re-sign. I mean, there might be a couple extra questions you have, but as soon as you hit the copy button, that app is 92% complete already for you. because all the information just transferred over. So it makes it a lot easier to do the business. I love that split concept. Yeah. Unfortunately, everyone's always all or none. Split it up.
Let me ask you this.
I had my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Go for
So
it.
just so I understand that strategy, you're saying instead of doing the Roth conversion, to do, to split up the qualified money into different annuity contracts?
Yeah.
So they could just turn it into guaranteed income or pension
Well, so
income.
you're going to still do the Roth conversion. You're just going to do it over this. So instead of me doing one Roth conversion for $500,000 this year,
Right.
which means I have a taxable event,
Right.
500 grand's worth of taxes.
Right.
I can do 10 $50,000 contracts, and maybe that's too many, but I can do one conversion of one contract this year for 50 grand. Next year, do another one for 50 grand. Do another one for 50 grand. The contracts are exactly the same.
So you're talking about in the annuity converting from the
Correct.
qualified to the Roth IRA?
Yep.
Okay, you can do that.
I mean, you don't have to use an annuity,
Right.
but I want you to use an annuity. That's how I get paid. So, but does that make sense? I mean, you're doing the same. In 10 years, the
Yeah.
net result to the client is exactly the same. All the growth and all the buildup is going to be tax-free. Now, the difference will be, instead of it being a $500,000 one-time deal, it'll be $575,000 or $600,000 total. But my tax rates, in theory, should be less because I'm paying a smaller percentage every year, right?
Right.
Instead of me paying 39%
Yeah,
one
you're
year,
on
I'm
the
paying
highest tax rate.
25%, 25%, 25%.
Okay. I just didn't know you
You're
could do
managing
a
your
Roth
taxes
IRA.
that way.
I make sure that no one else
So
is
it's a
raising their
strategy to
hand.
manage taxes.
It's exactly, it's a strategy to manage your
Strategy to manage
taxes.
taxes.
But what I'm doing is I'm building a lifetime tax-free
Right.
income.
Okay.
For the rest of my life, every dollar will be tax-free. So,
I asked someone over at Crump this question. Maybe you can clarify for me. They said with Nationwide that you can do with one contract partial can't.
I'm sorry, you can do, one contract partial
Conversions.
That's absolutely wrong.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely
good to
wrong.
know.
So,
We haven't done it yet, so that's great.
What I would recommend in that same scenario, if you're going to do if conversion is in your brain,
Yeah.
even if it's not in your brain today, maybe it should be in the future. Buy one contract, use the multiple contract page, and just create 3 contracts from one application.
Yeah.
And then you have 3 exactly identical contracts.
Yeah.
And if for some reason in the future you want to turn on income early on one and later on the other, or conversion or whatever, more contracts is just a little bit more work, but gives the client a ton more flexibility.
Yeah.
Because if they want to have half their income tax-free and half not,
Right.
who knows what your tax situation is going to be. I asked the group earlier, where do you think tax rates are going to be in 20 years, higher or lower? And the room was split. I was kind of surprised by that. I would think everyone would say higher, because we have 21 trillion in debt.
Right.
And it's not getting smaller. Whatever. And if more people do Roth, that means income needs to come from somewhere else, which means rates have to go up on the people who are paying tax. Not getting political, it just is what it is.
Right.
So would I rather pay taxes now or pay taxes for the rest of my life, right? It's the whole benefit of the Roth.
Right.
And again, it gives you not only the tax benefits, but also the flexibility to turn on income at different times, different kinds of income, use on the theme, option 1, guaranteed, do a nationwide, with the market-based. It's easy paperwork with the e-app.
Yeah.
It's, if you're doing paper, it's 70 pages. It's painful. 70 pages and then switching to another company and doing another 70 pages and then switching to another you're talking 200 pages plus. And with the e-app, it's copy. It's literally copy.
Yeah.
Pick a new product.
There's no reason to do anything but electronic.
Yeah, electronic is the way. But does that make sense? Does everybody understand that? I mean, the Roth, some people talk about the Roth, some people don't. It is what it is. Don't give tax advice if you're not qualified to. I always kind of caveat that. But there's sale opportunity that no one else has mentioned to them. The person at the bank isn't talking to them about Roth conversions.
No way.
And there's $14 trillion sitting there. Ask your clients about CDs. Ask them about their CDs. Because they have them. $14 trillion. That's 12 zeros. That's a whole lot of money. Earning under 1%. So, good? Make sense?
Yeah.
Does that help you guys position? I mean, there's so much more that we can talk about. I mean, Crump has hours and hours, and I can stand up here hours and just talk until you all fall asleep, and I'll still talk. But understand that, you know, the access to Crump, because we're not an insurance company, you have access to multiple product lines and multiple products, hundreds of different insurance solutions, and that's really the key. The nice thing is you got a specialist in each one of those zones. You got long-term care specialists, you have DI specialists, annuities, life insurance. We all know which products are going to be the most competitive given your client situation. That's really the key. The dedicated website we didn't even talk about. The e-apps, I'm telling you what, the e-app will make, you know, ultimately what does it do? Is it means you deliver a policy faster, which means you get paid faster. If that's the only benefit, is that a benefit?
Yep.
All day. Not to mention all of the things that it does for the client, the multiple pages that you don't have to sign, multiple times you have to write the client's social security number, name, address, date of birth. You have access to our in-house underwriters for life insurance, long-term care, DI. If you ever have weird cases, clients been declined, table rated, whatever, we can help you figure out which company makes the most sense. We have an entire advanced planning department as well. They are really, really good. They're all JDs, CLUs, CHFCs, CPAs. They can help you figure out which structure makes the most sense. They're not going to help you with plans because they don't want to be involved in the individual plan, but they can definitely help you go in the right direction. Today, the letters are DOL. Next year, they're going to be SEC or NAIC. We don't know what it's going to mean, but understand that that fiduciary standard is coming back. It's not going away. The industry is still kind of torn on what they think it's going to do. We're not in control. The SEC or the state regulators are going to chop it up and figure out a way. It just means that you have to be compliant. Fiduciary standard is going to be the new way. If you're working with Crump, you're going to be guaranteed to be compliant. That is truly the key. You do not want to be at the end of a class action lawsuit about taking advantage of little old ladies. Because that's, I mean, when DOL happened, you should have seen the billboards in Las Vegas. Did you guys ever see those? The lawyers in Las Vegas were putting up these billboards about the Department of Labor fiduciary. As soon as the rule came into place, they were like, tell us that you got screwed and we'll go and sue them. Basically is what it was. And the class action lawsuits will be hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. You don't want to be the guy or girl on the end of that one. So understand that if you work with Crump, you'll be in compliance. So that's all I got. It took a little too much time, but I appreciate you guys' attendance. Thank you so much.
All right.
And contact sheets are here, so if you want to pass them around or if you want to grab one when you're done, I can make sure. Todd, I'll email you a copy of this presentation as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
Yep.
No, I think they have.
All right, do you guys know everything that he just went